guys, welcome back. Well, either way, these stories are guaranteed to make you never want to camp out ever again. But if you do need some company while camping, we also have videos on other campfire games like Would You Rather and Truth or Dare questions. So let's jump right into these creepy stories that will keep you up at night. Number 10, Bloody Mary. The story goes like this. There was once a girl named Mary who lived in New Orleans. She was an average girl except for her striking resemblance to her mother. When Mary got older, she found out about her mother's death and wanted revenge. She waited until her dad was alone and then killed him with an axe, chopped his body up and served him to her father's friends at a dinner party. So be careful. And apparently, even though this is just a legend, well, if you have, then you know how unnerving it can be to see a random hook jutting out from behind the trees, especially when they're swaying slightly in the wind. Now, whether this is true or not is debatable. No, 9, Hook Man. Have you ever been driving down a deserted road late at night? This is exactly what happened to a man named David Cooper, except the hook was moving on its own. He was driving home from work in Florida when he saw the hook, and suddenly a hand holding the hook emerged from behind the trees and started beckoning for him to stop. Suddenly, the alligator lunged at the boy and tried to bite him. As he drove closer, he noticed that the hook was attached to a chain and a figure wearing a leather jacket was standing beside it. And so David did. Eventually, David woke up from this horrible nightmare only to find that his car had veered off the road and crashed into a tree. Or worse, they'll end up dead in your trunk. More specifically, do pick up a hitchhiker who asks you to take them to an old abandoned house where they'll collect some items. While he was shaken but otherwise unharmed, his passenger was impaled by the broken windshield and died instantly. In the 1970s, a series of brutal attacks plagued a forest near Nuremberg, Germany. One of the boys panicked and stabbed it in self-defense. At first, they thought it was cute, but soon realized it was unusually large. Well, if you have, you probably know the rules. Never pick up a hitchhiker, but many have reported similar encounters with a mysterious hookman who lures people off the road to harm them. Since then, reports of a killer rabbit have surfaced in other parts of the world. Number 8, alligators playing poker. It's said that if you experience a car malfunction in the woods, the tunnel monster will appear and drag you into the forest. Some say the train is haunted by the souls of the passengers who died on board. Either way, this is definitely a story to keep you from venturing too far into the woods after dark. He was driving home from work when he picked up a hitchhiker who asked him to take her to an abandoned house on a dirt road. Beside him were 3 more alligators, each with a glass of beer in their mouths. They turned around to see a pair of glowing red eyes in the darkness, and then a large shape began to emerge from the trees. So the boy did. He poked the alligator, who promptly quit the game. It seems the gator had had enough of losing. Her boyfriend tried to reassure her that it was just an animal, but she was terrified. So they decided to pack up and leave. If you see him, you should run away fast because he's dangerous and unpredictable. He listened patiently and then told them that there had been a string of similar sightings in the area lately. It's said that if you encounter the fog walker, you'll become lost in the woods forever. The couple sped out of there, but they could hear the man-wolf howling behind them. This last story comes from a Reddit user who says they were backpacking in the Beartooth Wilderness in the early 2000s. They never stopped to look back, but they could feel his presence growing closer. They couldn't see anyone, but they could hear the footsteps getting closer. Luckily, his dad jumped in and saved him. As they ran away, they could hear the alligators calling for them to come back and play another round. He was a demonic creature with sharp teeth and horns. They knew they had to escape, so they turned and ran as fast as they could. Let us know in the comments below. The figure led them deep into the woods and then stopped at a clearing. They reported the incident to the authorities. Tommy obliged, but once they arrived at the house, the girl grabbed him and dragged him inside. She then vanished into thin air. One knows what happened to Tommy after that, but some say he's still wandering around that house looking for the girl. They eventually came across a ranger who helped them find their way back to their car. Others say he's haunting the roads looking for cars to hitchhike and know. 6, killer rabbit. Don't you just love those cute little bunnies hopping around in the forest? Well, if you're camping out, you should watch out for the killer rabbit because they're real and they're scary. A group of teenagers were drinking around a campfire when they noticed a small rabbit hopping around nearby. Before long, the animal began growling at them and lunged forward with its claws out. Once they examined the dead animal, they noticed that it had sharp teeth and glowing red eyes. Apparently, these creatures are known as the Jersey Devil Rabbit, and they only attack campers at night. Legend has it that one fateful night in 1894, a train carrying 21 Irish immigrants derailed and fell off a bridge into the Lackawaxen River. Only 2 people survived the crash, but they were never the same again. If you listen closely, you can hear the screams echoing through the darkness. No. 4. Tunnel vision. Imagine you're driving down a dark road and suddenly your headlights fail. What would you do next? Well, if you're in the woods, you might want to pull over and wait for someone to help you. But be careful, because there is a creature lurking in the shadows who preys on drivers with tunnel vision. It's called the tunnel monster. There's a creature who lives in the woods and comes out at night to hunt for prey. No one knows what happens to people once the tunnel monster takes them, but some say they're never seen again. Others say they join the monster in its lair and become part of its pack. A woman was camping out with her boyfriend one night when she heard a loud wolf howl in the distance. As they were driving down a dark road, they heard another wolf howl, and this time it was much closer. It was a man covered in fur, and he was growling at them. Apparently, this man-wolf is known as the Wolf Man, and he's only seen during the full moon, when you can't see more than a few feet in front of you. Some hikers use landmarks like trees or rocks to help them stay on track. There's a creature known as the fog walker, and it only appears when the fog is thickest. No one knows what the fog walker looks like, but some say it's a person, while others say it's an animal. The most important thing to remember is that if you see the fog walker, you should turn around and go the other way immediately. No, 1. The ritual. Suddenly, they saw a pair of glowing red eyes in the darkness, and then a tall, lanky figure began to emerge from the trees. As he approached their camp, he kept beckoning for them to follow him. The creature then began to chant loudly, and the ground beneath their feet began to shake. They never looked back, but they could hear the creature laughing behind them. When they returned to the clearing, they found a pentagram carved into the ground and some strange symbols written in what looked like blood. But no one ever found the creature. Some say it's still out there waiting to lure unsuspecting hikers into its trap. Well, guys, that's all the time we have for today.